Hey there! Welcome back to part 2 on this mini-series about differentiation and building creative content for your students. Thanks so much for all of your comments and questions on the first video, whether you left them by email or private message or even in the comments down below. It's really been amazing to see so many of you excited about the idea of realistic differentiation, and especially without breaking the bank. So just to quickly recap, last time I showed you how to use AI with Google Sheets to create customized content based on your students' interests. Now the idea is simple. Every student gets something meaningful to them, and you don't have to give up your personal life to make it happen. It's a big one. All right, so this series is about one big opportunity, which is using EdTech tools to make your teaching more effective without burning yourself out. Differentiation has always been the dream, but now it is finally doable. So if we haven't met yet, I'm Brent Warner. I've been teaching multilingual learners for over 20 years and helping educators around the world integrate tech in ways that are practical, sustainable, and student-centered. Today, we're going to take that custom content and move one step forward into the classroom. So while differentiated content is great, you have to have something to do with it. So today I'll walk you through 3 tools that can be used to turn that content into powerful, student-centered activities that keeps the focus on developing language skills while reducing your workload. Let's go check them out. Okay, so in the last video, we learned how to make totally customized content just like this, where every single one of our students will have stories built around their interests, but you can use it to make sure that you have your own vocabulary, grammar, whatever else it is that you want to customize for the students. Now, the problem here for many people, they say, well, hold on a second, now I don't have to cut and paste every single story out somewhere else and make that all work. No, there are old tools that work really well and they're free, and we're going to take a look at that one for our first one, which is a tool called Autocrat. Now, if you haven't seen Autocrat before, this is what it is. It's basically a mail merge, and so if you build out a template that you're expecting to plug in specific information from, it will plug that in where you need it. So for example, here we see, hi, first name, please read the following story and highlight this week's vocabulary words. Under the story, write your own short story about going to see musician in concert with actor. And so this means that the student is going to use the first story, check out the vocabulary words, very simple, basic, kind of an example activity really. But then it's going to customize it out for them here. And then you see in this box where it says story, that is where the story will get put in. So let's take a look at how that works. Back in the slides, we're going to click on extensions, and you're looking for a tool called Autocrat. If you don't have it, you can go search for it and install it. So when we open it, you can then go and customize your total build for everything that you want to do. So in this case, I'm going to click on the edit job because I've already started, but we'll get a little sense about what's going on inside of here. So this is the custom story. I can choose the template if I've already built it, and so in this case, it is custom story is the one that that I just showed you for a moment. And then here we can see where we want the ideas mapped across. So the first name in the 2 brackets here, in the 2 arrow brackets, is going to map to the column that is first name. Musician is going to map to favorite band and musician. So basically what it does is it pulls the names of all of your columns, and then it lets you align them with a little code inside of here. So that's why you see first name is aligned with the column for first name, musician is aligned with the column for their favorite band and musician, and story is mapped to story. And then there are some other options inside of there. I'll admit, a little bit of a learning curve, few times it took me to kind of get it the first few times, and then no problem at all. So let's imagine that we're good to go here, and I'm going to click on save, and it's ready for everything. And so once it is ready, I am going to, normally I'm going to click on the play button and that will run the entire job. I'm not going to run it all right now because we can get just a sample of it by clicking on the eyeball icon. And then down at the bottom, it does give you an option after you've checked it to preview for just the first row, so you can just make sure that it's working. So when I click on this, it now tells me that I have a link and it says it's sent to kind of my fake email address that I had here. But when I click on this, you can now see that all of the information from the template, it said hi first name, now it says hi Miguel. Same information, please read the story and highlight this week's work. And then it says under the story, please write your own a short story about going to see Mana in concert with Salma Hayek. And so again, that's musician in concert with actor. And it's pulling in all of that information from over here where it said, hey, favorite band musician is Mana, favorite actor is Salma Hayek. And the entire story is now customized and available for the student. And inside of the Google Doc, because I already had this in the template, they have a spot to start writing their own short story. Lots and lots that you can do here if you just start thinking creatively about like grammar points, language points, writing styles, all sorts of different things that might be interesting for you for pulling those stories out and pushing them into a Google Doc very easily for each student. Okay, so next up, you have this content, this customized story for a student, but you might be thinking, well, I don't really want to just have them reading everything. I want to do more with this technology. And so one great way to do this is with another tried and true tool, tried and true tool, which is Mote. So I have this installed already. It's M-O-T-E. It's this purple M mark, and all you have to do is once it's installed, and there are lots of features in here, but we're just going to look at one. So let's imagine that I want to switch this to a speaking and pronunciation activity. Once my student has this document, they can simply highlight the paragraph that you want to hear them read, or maybe they do one at a time, and they can click on this add-on here that says Hypermote, add Hypermote. So the little box will pop up, and then they're going to record themselves reading that part. Miguel was a big fan of soccer, especially of Lionel Messi. One sunny day in Mexico City, he had a surprising encounter. While walking in the park, he saw Messi sitting on a bench looking relaxed. Miguel couldn't believe his eyes. So once they record it, they can listen to themselves and make sure they like what it sounds like. Miguel was a big fan of soccer, especially of Lionel Messi. And then they click on the insert button. And what this means is that when they send you the document, you can click on any part that is underlined here, and it will bring up a link for you to be able to listen to what they recorded. So now you can do all sorts of checks on speaking, fluency, pronunciation, etc. right there in the document that is totally customized for your student. So let's say that you've played around with some of the voice features and you're saying, okay, now I understand that, but really what I want my students to do is to build their own study kits. And because this is stories that are directly related to them, maybe they'll be more interested in pursuing something that's fully personalized. So anytime you could use a tool like Read and Write. So again, you can download this and put it into your browser, and it's got all these tools up here on the toolbar. And so again, lots of different features, but let's just imagine that we're going to have students build their own personalized dictionary. And so they might highlight different words, like approached is a verb, and so they might highlight that in yellow. Maybe you're going to have them highlight different parts of speech in different colors. So maybe I've got this yellow, this green, this blue one. And then for the student, once they have the words that they say, hey, I like this story, I want to make sure I really fully understand it, then they can click on this button here, which will create a vocabulary list for them of the words they highlighted. So let's give it a try. And after just a moment, you will see that it will create a totally customized vocabulary list. So it's got the word approached, it tells the meaning, has the symbols, and then of course you can add any assignment in here for notes or whatever you want them to do with that information. So the picture dictionary options are there. Highlight, did I choose the word highlight? Oh, it's highlighted because of it was already highlighted from the example before. But yes, okay, so it is pulling in that highlighted word inside of there, rush and true. So whatever the word choices are. So again, now students have their own work that they can get started with based on the stories that they liked, and they can build their own work, or you can give them assignments that are related specifically to the stories that are connected to them. By the way, if you like the ideas we just explored and want a step-by-step walkthrough just like I provided on the last video, go check it out at brentgwarner.com/differentiate2. So now you've seen how a few well-chosen tools can take personalized content and turn it into meaningful, student-centered activities without increasing your workload. But if you're still thinking, these are great and I can use these ideas, but overall I'm not a techie person, I promise you, you're not alone. In fact, one of the biggest shifts I've seen in recent years is this. Once teachers start using tech in ways that actually work for them, things get easier and classes get more fun. So here's the deal. When tech stops feeling like a chore and starts working like a partner, you don't just save time, you open the door to more creativity, more engagement, and more energy in your classroom. So in the next video, I'm going to show you how to refocus your thinking about building creative activities, keeping up with all the tech tools, and working in a way that makes you an invaluable asset to your students and to your school, despite all the fear-mongering about AI taking our jobs. Let's get back to doing more of what you actually love about teaching. So if all of this is useful, make sure you're signed up for updates at brentgwarner.com/updates, and also drop a comment to let me know what's one thing that's part of your teaching that you wish you could make easier or more fun with tech. I'd love to hear what matters most to you, and I might just be able to make a new mini training in the future. I'll see you when things wrap up in video 3.